All right, Colleen.
Thank you. So I wanted to ask about the Uvalde report yesterday. The president had said that he hadn't seen the full findings, but that he wasn't sure that there was criminal liability. So a couple things. I wondered if he had time to look through the full findings and if his opinion has changed at all. And then also, if not, is there another way that law enforcement should be held accountable for the failures?
So there's a couple of things I want to say about that. The DOJ's report, which is what you're obviously referring to, Colleen, shows that there were multiple points of failure with the law enforcement response in Uvalde, and so we can only imagine how this news adds to the heartbreaking Uvalde families, how they're feeling, and certainly as a mom myself, this is one of those days that you wish never ever happens and you don't want to imagine. So this obviously is very heartbreaking, not just for the families, for that community. And so no community should have to ever go through what Uvalde community suffered. And but I'll say this, and I think it's really important that these families were able, in Uvalde, were able to turn things around, and they turned their pain into purpose. And helped pass the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, which we see it's already starting to save lives. And so while the president is going to continue to certainly to do everything that he can through executive action to protect communities from gun violence, he's not going to stop to ask Congress to to do something. You hear me say that, you hear him say that often. They need to do something to stop this epidemic of gun violence. And so we've been very clear. We need universal background checks, a national red flag law. We must ban assault weapons, obviously, and high capacity magazines. And these actions can't wait. These actions can't wait. And so I just wanted to lay that out because that report was I'm sure very difficult. Forget about us in the room. Very difficult for the Uvalde community, and the president understands that. I just don't have anything beyond that to add.
Sorry, one more.
No,
on the debate or the discussions on funding, it sounded like yesterday they were pretty close on the immigration and Ukraine funding agreements, and I just wondered if the White House was willing to concede more. I think one of the main issues they were talking about was parole authority. I wondered if they were more concessions being made, or like what's happening.
So for the past several months, I've been very careful to not negotiate from here, so I'm not going to break that. What I'll say is, and I've said this many times, we really appreciate that senators, both Republican and Democrats, continue to have this conversation, continue to negotiate on border security. Obviously, this is something that is very important to this president. It came up in the congressional meeting that they had 2 days ago, and the president was very clear that Congress needs to act. We need to be zeroed in and focused on this, and also the funding for Ukraine as Ukraine continues to defend themselves against Putin's aggression, right? Putin's invasion. And so that is something that we need to continue to do. Obviously, there's been a global coalition that the president has held including NATO alliances, more than 50 countries in support of Ukraine as they're trying to fight for their freedom. So we need to continue to do that. The president believes all of the parts and the pieces and what he's asked for in his national security supplemental needs to pass. But going back to border security for a second, we think the conversations are going in the right direction. We are optimistic about it. It is important to act now. The immigration system, what we've seen at the border, has been broken for decades now, needs to get fixed. And so the president's going to continue to encourage Congress to act. And again, we are very thankful and appreciative and encouraged by what we're seeing by senators, both Republicans and Democrats, continuing these negotiation processes.